many things that I would love to just start talking about right now, because there's a lot of things that I've been sorting through, like going through a storm. And if you can imagine being in a storm or a tornado even, where you can't see what's going on, and the only thing that you can do is to try to find something solid to hold on to. Even like driving in the rain, which, the rain, the snow, the fog, I've had to deal with a lot of that lately, driving through bad weather. And while I'm driving through the bad weather, there's not much room for me to do anything else but to focus on the road, find the solid line and stay focused, find a track to run in so that I don't get off into the snow or the ice or whatever. And it got me thinking about some of my current life situations that I've been in, or just going through anything. If you're going through something, it's really hard to explain it or maybe talk about it because you're going through it. But I'm really wanting to talk about the connection between honesty and intimacy. Because we know that we can either be lied to or we can lie to others, but we also can lie to ourselves, not being honest with ourselves. And since God lives inside of us, His Spirit dwells within us, it's kind of hard to lie to God. It's kind of hard to hide things from God when He is inside of you, and He knows your thoughts, He knows your heart, and He knows your intentions. Okay, so if you're not being honest within yourself, it's going to be very hard to have an intimacy with God. And further, it's going to be hard to have intimacy with other people, because you're not going to be able to tell the truth. Because it's kind of like rejecting the truth. If you're not being honest with yourself, it's like rejecting God. Rejecting the intimacy between you and Him, the intimacy of the relationship. And so that's why I believe that honesty with yourself is the beginning of intimacy with God and with other people. And yeah, technically, we all lie at some point in our life. And then there's a point in our life when we should, grow up in the Spirit, or grow up and mature and learn that a lie only causes problems. Whether you're lying to yourself or someone else is lying to you, it causes problems. It creates a blockage for intimacy, and that destroys relationship. So ultimately, we need to have honesty with ourselves. Like, outside of everybody else, whether you can be honest with other people or not, that's not as important as being honest with yourself. Okay? Because when I found out, and we go through this, there's certain things in my life that keep coming up. Some things come up that I really have to get honest with myself about. And that's not easy. Okay? It's one thing, to be honest with somebody else. Even being honest and telling the truth can be two different things. Okay? Just like, for instance, my personal self, if I get my feelings hurt and someone asks, if there's something wrong with me, no, nothing's wrong. Okay? So the truth technically is there's nothing wrong, but being honest with myself would be to say, yeah, my feelings are hurt. Okay, so, whether it's something you talk to about somebody or not, that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being honest with yourself, because that's where you and God have the connection and the intimacy to work out your salvation, or work out your intimacy problems, or work out anything that God could possibly help you with. You have to have intimacy. You have to have an honesty. You have to have a closeness of connection. And if you're not being honest, there's no connection. It's that way in real life with real people. And honesty and intimacy, they go together. Okay, if you don't have honesty, you're not going to have intimacy. Not real intimacy, anyway. So, it's so much easier for me to write these things down. I normally, the way I help, like, what helps me to get through things a lot is writing it down. And it's very easy for me to write my feelings down, or write my thoughts down. But talking about my feelings and talking about my thoughts, putting my thoughts into words and expressing them through words is very, very difficult. I feel like, I don't know, God gave Moses Aaron to speak, because Moses said that he's having trouble speaking. I guess he had a stutter. I guess I've heard some say he stuttered. I don't know. All I know is that Moses had trouble also, and I know a lot of us can relate to that if we actually read it. So this is part of my training and being a disciple of the Holy Spirit. And that's just really stuck in my mind. I was having, a conversation with God about, I've seen all these things, like these signs, people posting things, the world needs Jesus, somebody call Jesus, let Jesus take the wheel, different things like that. And it seems to me that people are grasping for the truth. They're grasping for an explanation. They're grasping for a companion or comfort. And that, getting through these things in life, God said, I will never leave you. Okay? And then so when the world sees that, well, Jesus was crucified, They think that's the end of it. They think that's the end of it. They don't continue on. Why was he crucified? It doesn't make sense to our mind. But Jesus said, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. He was asking him to forgive their evil acts, their cruelty towards him. Why would he do that? Because of the intimacy, because of the comfort that he knew he was going to send. His Holy Spirit. He said, I will send the Spirit, release my Spirit back to the Father so that the Father can send you the Helper. The Spirit will be given back. He gives himself to us because God is Spirit. And that's where we can be honest. We can have intimacy with God because he is within us. And we need to learn to trust him before you go and try to, patch up every single thing in your life that you've ever done. First, try to be honest with yourself first. Because God restores things. God restores that brokenness in your soul from the lies, from being lied to. My gosh, I would never have another relationship ever again if I were to believe that, every relationship has brokenness. And I wouldn't have another one again if I didn't trust God, because God restores things. He restores the brokenness. He gives us forgiveness. He gives us compassion to have on others and show them mercy when they're not perfect, when they're not all the way honest, when they are being deceived, or when they are not being honest with themselves. Father, forgive them. And that's what's helping me. I'm actually forcing myself, I'm doing this on purpose. I'm talking this out because it's too easy for me just to sit and write it down. It seems like I don't get any growth from doing that, even though I know I do. That's my personal space with God, is in my writing. Just like writing a song. It's like I can be close to God, and God expresses things to me while I'm writing. Sometimes it's like he's the one taking my hand and giving me instructions with my hand, with my pen and paper. And I do grow from that. I learn from that. I'm discipled that way by the Holy Spirit. But I know now that it's more and so much more even beneficial to others when I talk about my feelings to others. It helps them, it helps me, and I'm still trying to do that because it's easier for me to stay quiet. That's just the way I am with that. I mean, on a personal level, I stay close to God that way by keeping to myself, trying to control my tongue, because it gets out of hand. It can get out of hand if I allow it to. And I want to get better at that. I want to get better at controlling my tongue and not letting my emotions rule over my spirit. The Holy Spirit. I want the Holy Spirit to reign inside of me instead of my fleshy mouth or my my fleshy emotions, I guess you could say. Because when my emotions get a hold of me sometimes, then I just say stuff that's not of the Spirit. I say stuff that's of the flesh, and I know the difference. And so being a disciple of the Holy Spirit, when I say that on purpose, I am a disciple of the Holy Spirit, it brings me to the present time to where I can desire the prophecy and desire the gifts of the Spirit, so that my armor is fully in place. You know, my armor is fully in place when I do things on purpose. And so I guess that's where I'm at today, is working through this, you know, being honest with myself. And I have to remind myself to continue to be honest with myself, because it's easy just to say, well, you know, it's not that bad, or, you know, you're really being ridiculous, or, you know, whatever it is that I say to myself that causes me to start not being honest with myself is, oh, you don't need to worry about that today, or it's not going to hurt, you know, if you just, whatever, you know, whatever it is, you can make excuses, we make excuses for whatever it is. The enemy wants to come inside your mind and make a residence and run your household. So that's what I'm trying to avoid from happening, because of some of these things that's happened in my life. I'm building up this defense wall when really I need to be building up this honesty wall with the truth. And so that's what I'm trying to do with myself and with others, because I do desire intimacy. You know, I want the right kind of intimacy. I want real intimacy, and that is what comes from God. And that's how we will learn. That's the only way we're going to learn these things that will get us through this life and the things of this world, is to bring His kingdom into our household, into our house, into our temple. Okay? Because He has made us holy and set apart for Him. So that's my thoughts so far today. I've only been up a few hours, and I had that stuff was on my mind. I have to drive, I couldn't write. So I thought I would just give it a shot, throw this out there, my thoughts on being honest and having intimacy, and, you know, being a disciple of the Holy Spirit. There's a lot of benefits, a lot of things to learn. So be safe, and we will talk soon. Bye-bye.